What's going on? I hope you're having an awesome day. I want to talk to you about selling. I just want to talk to you about how to sell and how to sell a little bit differently today. Now, 2 weeks ago, I was fortunate to be a speaker at a virtual sales conference. And from that effort, from that speaking session that I did, I've been having a ton of amazing conversations with people in so many different industries, selling so many different products at so many different price points. It's been a lot of fun, and it continues to validate my approach to selling. And this is the approach that I want you to be taking. This is what we want to go over and how we want to retrain you to be able to sell. So if you're new here, I'm Brian Palmer. I am a sales trainer. I'm a digital marketing agency owner, and my goal is to help you develop the best buying experience you possibly can. I fell into sales training quite on accident. I just have been doing it for 15 years, using the systems in my own selling to never miss a quota ever, which is not a lie. I'm not saying that to brag. I just have never missed a sales goal or a sales quota because I do it differently. And then my clients started asking me to teach their teams. The one thing that I want to make sure that we're clear on is that sales is not one size fits all. All trainings out there that I have seen, they're done, they're recorded, and they're put out there, and they expect their training to work with what you sell, the product or service, the price point, the industry that you're in. But they're also missing a key element, and that is who you are. That is your personality. Selling is not the high pressure, sleazy tactics anymore. That's not what selling is. Now, you're going to have people and sales reps and trainers that just swear by that, and they want to, put you in a category of a lion or a tiger or an owl or something kind of completely stupid, to be honest. But we just have to understand that it's different. The times have changed, the buyer has changed, and what they want, how they want to be sold to, that has evolved and that is different. So when we're selling, it doesn't matter what you are selling, okay? It could be a $30 monthly SaaS subscription product. It could be a $1 million mobile app. It could be a physical thing like you sell solar and you're a field rep for solar. We have to go foundationally to an experience. We have to create an experience for buyers. And if we can do that, then we're already ahead of the game. We have to start thinking before you even pick up the phone or send that first email or knock on that door, or knock on that business door. You need to have a plan. So my training is all about reconning before action. So what information do you have on that prospect or that company or that business? What can you do? What do you already know so that you can create an experience? So many salespeople fail because they just start picking up the phone and blindly go in there dialing or emailing or voicemailing or whatever, right? We don't want to do that. We want to warm people up. We want to build a relationship, and we want them to start trusting us, because despite what so many people out there will say, they're not actually selling. I sell every day. I own a marketing company. I have to do this. I work with my clients who they sell. All right, they have sales teams, they have products online. I know what people need to buy, the psychology behind it, what makes them buy. I've done it for years. What we need to do is develop the relationship. With the information that's out there now, your prospect can self-educate themselves more than they ever have before. And there's a stat out there that I think it's most 50% of all buyers are at least halfway through the buying process before they even talk to you. So if you sell a SaaS product, there's probably thousands of other companies selling the same thing. It's very rare in this day and age that you're the only one that sells it. You've cornered the market, you've got this monopoly, and everybody needs their products. They're going to come to you regardless. That doesn't really happen anymore, at least not that I've seen recently. So how do you stand out? How are you going to deliver that experience? I have what I call my C.U.B.E selling method, which is the customer's unique buying experience. And what that means is that every step of the way, we want to offer an experience. Now we want to do it at scale as much as we possibly can, but we want that customer, that prospect, to feel like they are the only one you're talking to. And there's a few ways that you do that. So the first thing that we want to do is make sure that we're reaching out and we're doing essentially a warm introduction. That means that you're not trying to cold call and close or pitch on do your elevator pitch on that first try. What you want to do is you first want to send an email, connect with them on LinkedIn, send some kind of warm introduction. And that warm introduction needs to be pretty simple. It needs to provide value. It needs to introduce you, it needs to introduce your company, and it needs to provide value. It also doesn't need to ask them if it's okay to follow up or send them something. I get a lot of those where it's, hey, this is what we do. I have this thing. Is it okay if I send it over? Just do it. Just send it over. Now, it also doesn't matter if you get their email wrong. So let's say you're trying to do a cold email warm-up, exercise, and you send this email and it bounces. Well, take note of that, because then you can go into LinkedIn or your cold call and say, hey, this is the email I have for you. I tried to send you over something. I think it's really going to be helpful. It looks like it may have bounced, so let me know if you got it, right? Or kind of play dumb and say, I don't know if you've seen it yet, because then they might say, well, I haven't seen it. If they do see it, because there's ways where you can pretty confidently find an email structure. And I'll show you all that in different videos or my training. I go over how to prospect, but it's pretty easy to, make an educated guess and get pretty close. So if you send that over and they see it, you should be tracking that. And then you can reference that. Your follow-up, your cold call, your next step is going to have a reason. So it's not going to be cold. They're going to have some warm introduction. They're going to have some name recognition when you contact them. And that's very powerful. I teach what I call my laws of 7. So any step in the sales process, especially some of those early levels of the sales process, it's going to take at least 7 attempts to actually gain contact with that person. So in this example, let's say you've done your cold email. That's 1. You've done a LinkedIn message. That's 2. You're now calling them. That's 3. Then you send a text message if you have their cell phone. That's 4. You send a voicemail. That's 5. You have another call. That's 6. You have another email. That's 7. Those are what you need to be doing, because people get busy. They're sold to a number of different ways with a number of different people. So they're seeing it all, right? They're getting those same cookie cutter experiences from everybody else, but you're going to be different. You're going to offer that experience. Because then if you see that they respond or they're more, talkative, or they communicate more through LinkedIn, you're going to change your strategy over to LinkedIn. You're going to focus on LinkedIn. If they're responding to a text message or responding when you answer the, or they answer the phone, that's what you're going to do. You're going to do phone. But if you don't know, one of the best tactics that I use is just to ask. Just ask. When you get them on the phone or you get them on the email and they want more information or they're open to speaking more, hey, that sounds great. How do you want this process to go? Is email still the best way? Do you want to communicate, or do you want to use LinkedIn or some other forms? I can cater the experience to you, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect. That is so powerful, and it's so awesome for them to hear. And they know, okay, this person's establishing trust. They're going to try, and they're going to deliver a better experience. But you can't lie. You have to make sure that you have the right systems in place to be able to do that. And that leads me to my next point, and that is putting the systems in place. CRM systems, or customer relationship management systems, are super important. They often have a bad reputation in sales because people use them incorrectly. They use them wrong. They're sending out blanket emails or mass email broadcasts, and they're not sending them at the right time or with the right information to the right people. So anything that you promise a prospect experience-wise needs to be able to be delivered with the systems you have. And those can just be reminding you to be sending out certain things. There's types of selling that you can do pretty much automatically on autopilot using a CRM system that can send emails on your behalf, text messages from you, voicemails from you. They can do all that automatically. And those are awesome. And I love building those. But there's also certain types of deals where that automation isn't really appropriate, but the automation can help you never lose track of a lead again. It can remind you, it can create tasks, it can create a lot of different accountability for you to make sure that you don't forget a follow-up. You don't lose track of that lead. You don't go dark on them. They don't go dark on you. There's a lot of things you can do in systems are incredibly important. And I build these funnels, I build these pipelines for people, and we think through literally what is the best buying experience that we can offer, and how do we do that with technology as an asset? How do we use AI? How do we use the CRMs? How do we make sure that we are doing this at scale? Because it's very hard for you to keep track of, 20, 100, 1,000 different leads. You're going to need some help, and you're going to need help the right way. And when done right, it can be a tremendous asset, which helps you further qualify and further nurture these prospects on autopilot without you even there, right? We don't want those people to go dark. We don't want the competitors to be talking to them more than you are. And we don't want them to ghost you, which brings me to our next point, which is ghosting. That will happen. Remember, in sales, we still have the laws of 7. So you have to think, are they really ghosting you, or do you just need to follow up a little bit more? If a prospect ghosts you, I do what I call is pattern interrupt. So I might be talking to them, obviously, about the deal or the product or the service. That's fine. That's what we're here for. But if they ghost me and I know certain things about them, maybe I know they're taking a trip, I might say, hey, here's a restaurant. I know you're going to this spot. I might just send them an email with the subject line, restaurant or great restaurant to try. And I'll send them this saying, hey, I know you're going on this trip next month. You should check this out. I hear it's got awesome reviews. Or better yet, if you've been where they're going and you have recommendations, do that. Maybe you find an article that is really relevant to their profession, their business, their day-to-day, or their company, their industry. Send that over. Do a pattern interrupt or several attempts of that, to not necessarily keep pushing your own agenda, because clients will ghost you because you keep pushing your agenda. If they're not ready to buy yet, they're not going to buy, and they're going to ghost you instead. Because if every touch point you're giving them is, let's move forward, let's buy, just checking in, just following up, all that boilerplate stuff, they're just going to stop responding. Hopefully they'll respond again when they're ready, but most of the time they stop responding and you might lose that lead. If you continue to build a relationship, building a friendship, providing value, then you'll know when the deal needs to happen, and you'll be able to push at the right times or pull back at the right times. Certain things like knowing their buying fiscal years, when they make the purchases, when they make the purchase decisions, will help you cater your approach and your timeline and your cadence of communication to those people. Selling is just all about the experience. It's about not selling and instead being a true consultant. You might be thinking, well, I'm not trained, Brian, to be a consultant. And I would beg to differ. Because if you know your product or service, and I mean know it well, you can consult on it. If you know your prospect, their challenges, their problems, their pain points, you can consult on how to fix it. So right off the bat, if you change your mindset from a salesperson to a consultant, then when you cold call, when you cold email, when you go into a meeting, your mind is changed from high pressure, I have to make this deal, I've got to sell this, I've got to do my elevator pitch. It's changed to a more relaxed atmosphere for everybody. If you go in saying, I want to help you, we know this is your problem. Yes, we have a product or service that we think can solve that, but let me tell you why. And let me make sure that we understand exactly what you need. That's so powerful. That is so powerful when you know what they need, right? And you can deliver that. It's so fun to actually create these relationships. I have relationships that I have, started a decade ago. I've been invited to clients' weddings because, yes, they buy from me. Yes, I sell to them, but they also know I'm genuinely trying to solve their problem. If you can be genuine in your approach and really want to solve their problem, that's extremely important. And I can't even really teach that. I can teach you how to develop rapport and do those things and, deepen that relationship, but it has to come within. You have to actually enjoy doing what you're doing. You have to enjoy helping people and enjoy selling what you sell. Consulting now has turned into more of, okay, you have this plethora of information in front of you. You've got these 20 different solutions or these companies that you're vetting. Let me help you with that. Yes, company A, it's a great company. Here's where we think that we're different and still a little bit better. Oh, company B, I read an article from them that they're actually, about to get sued. Company C has a lot of turnover, so you might not have a great relationship with the reps or account managers of that company. You can help them figure out the best company to go with, and we want that company to be you, of course. But consulting them builds the trust. So again, this is just something I wanted to get out today in just terms of how you start selling in a better way today and not trying to take this one size fits all approach. Objections will happen. Derailments will happen. The more you know ahead of time and the more you can guide that process, the better that you're going to be. I always say that objections are one of those things that you might hear the same objection 20 different times over the course of a week, but you might have to respond to that 20 different ways based on the experience that you need to give those people. And this is all stuff that I help people with because I'm very passionate about it. I can show you how to do it at scale and do it a lot easier than you think. But hopefully this video just helps kind of start to rewire your brain and help you understand how to sell a little bit more and a little bit better in today's digital world. So if you have any questions, reach out, let me know. Here's my email. You can also go to my website and get a free training and sign up for my weekly newsletter, which also gives you free stuff every week. So I hope you'll do that because it's free resources. It can't hurt. And I want to get to know you and what you sell a little bit better. And I look forward to doing that. So I'll talk to you next time.